Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of the OutLap Preview Podcast. It is here. It is time to get things underway. Just about 1 week from the track walk at Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27. Back to Las Vegas one more time. Again, 27th edition of this race. Back to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. David Cole and Nate Dean joining me here. Rob Howden, the editor-in-chief and publisher of eKartingNews.com. It is time for the first of two OutLap podcast. The guys are ready to go. We've got predictions set to go. We're going to go through the micro, mini, and both junior categories here today. Another show at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Let's start by talking about the presenting sponsor today of the show. That will be the Rawlson Performance Group. At the Rawlson Performance Group, we strive for ultimate success. We're more than just an arrive and drive race team with countless wins on the national and regional level. Our focus is on complete driver development, and that's where the success is fueled. We combine one-on-one coaching, on-track instruction, and intensive data debriefing with unparalleled kart and engine prep. Our program will help you raise your game. We'll take you to the next level. If that's your goal, RPG needs to be your next move. Experience the Rawlson difference. So episode number 80, David Cole, Nate Dean. I hear there's something else going on tonight. I don't know why anybody would be watching anything other than this. If you're
you wouldn't know. You live in Canada, so you have no idea what's going on.
There's an election tonight, I hear. So
it is, yeah.
It'll be interesting for sure. You guys vote? Did you get out there and do your civic duty?
Yeah, I went and voted this morning. Nate, how about you?
I didn't have time to. Had too much on my plate.
It's too much going on. I get it. There's a lot going on when it comes to the SuperNationals, that's for sure. People wonder about that. They always think, oh, SuperNat, you guys roll in there Monday. David, I know you've been working on it for a week already. So there's a lot that goes into it. You guys, not so much me. I'm over here cruising around doing my thing, but you guys busting out editorial, graphics, everything. I know Nate's nonstop as well. So SuperNats is like a month-long, at least a 3-week, month-long thing for us.
Well, yeah, it's the big one. We want to make sure that we have all the data we need, all the information we need for when we do write up the 9 previews for all the different categories. Yeah. Obviously, we'll be talking about 4 of them today, and all 4 previews are available now. I'll share the link in a little bit to the event page where you can see all the news and keep that bookmarked so you can keep going back to it and seeing what we're talking about and things that are happening during the event itself, and so. Coming up with predictions. Again, the more data we have, I feel the better you can make your predictions. It showed because I continue to win this program. So,
but you better win. Like, you're the one that's on top of it all day long. Like, Nate's buried in a computer. Like, at least he's got a plausible deniability. I'm just out here. You're the guy.
He's coming up quick though. I mean, I just took a quick peek at the predictions for the 4 classes today, and we're different. Yeah, we have some similarities, so it'll be pretty close.
All right, folks, this is SuperNationals 27. First one started back in 1997 at the Las Vegas Karting Center. I think it was Race Kart City. I think it was called back then in the early. The race, of course, November the 13th to 17th, on track on Wednesday morning, all the way through to Super Sunday. Back out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a different lot than they were at last year. David's got the circuit map we'll bring up in a little bit here. But last year we were kind of in an odd spot, and it was a really weird footprint for Scusa to kind of work with. They were able to shoehorn something in. I will go back and give another props. When we walked the track for the first time, we're like, this is ridiculous. The straightaway is way too long. It's not going to work. Some of the best racing we've seen in the 27 years of the event. So again, props for last year one more time. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the broadcast with Kart Chaser throughout the week, but last year was a pretty solid weekend, I think.
Yeah, I think the speeds helped separate the fields a little bit, provided crazy opportunities there at the right in front of the VIP room or the building or tent, and then our perch as well too. And so it had a lot of fast parts to it, but very technical in terms of the switchbacks that they did have. So it kind of separated the fields. And again, people are going to find a way to make a move, and we're starting to see that more and more in a lot of different categories where people are going to find a place to pass no matter where they go.
Well, we'll bring both of you guys in to talk about the track itself. David, let's throw out the track map here right now. It's going to be a 16-turn track, going to run in the counterclockwise direction. It is the 3rd time they've run at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Back in 2021, we were there as well after the COVID year. Then 2023, of course, back to the Rio there in 2022, the race that I got a chance to run on. David, tell us a little bit more about the facility first, and then we'll have a look at this track map.
Yeah, the facility itself. Yeah, you've already said this is going to be our third time there. We're on the eastern portion of the facility where we were back in 2021. It's actually more space we're going to be utilizing. They're going to have plenty of ample parking spot. The paddock laid out very similar. If you go to Superkarts USA website, you'll be able to see the paddock layout, and it's very similar to say 2017. So I thought when they showed up of the voting process for the circuits, I thought for sure maybe they'll bring back 2017, but instead it is a circuit inspired by the Mont Tremblant circuit in Canada. So speaking of Canada, they're taking that layout and kind of
little bits of it,
adjusting it to fit the space they do have available. But it's kind of like a flip flop of that actual circuit. So it's unique. It's got an 850-foot long straightaway where you see that long straightaway, the finish line right after the corner, and then the starting line down towards turn one. So it's going to be a fast layout, but it's for me personally, looking at it, I see about 6 passing zones already.
Yeah, I see the same thing. Nate, you feel the same way about the layout? Have you had a chance to kind of look it over yet?
Yeah, it's definitely different than what we're used to in terms of SuperNats layouts with the typical 90 into a hairpin into another hairpin. It's nice for them to change it up. It's definitely going to be a new challenge for a lot of these drivers. It looks like a really fun complex. The few drivers that I've talked to, they'll be racing it, are fairly excited to finally hit the track when that time comes. But just like last year, it's gonna come down to how it races, and hopefully it's as good as it was last year.
Right. Turn one, obviously, guys, going to be very quick left-hander, as you can see, sweeping a big sweeper all the way through 2, 3. I expect hard braking in 4, but it's not a super tight corner. It opens up on the exit to kind of a rhythm section, a little left-right. Then David into this double right-hander, the 7, 8, and you're going to be carrying a lot of speed and really rolling the G's, I think, through 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what curbing they use for 9 and 10, how much curbing they're actually going to use. If you think back to 2017 and those horrendous, huge, massive curbs that they had in a tight section. So I'm hoping they don't do that here. And very similar to that in turns 13, 14, 15. After you come out of that section, it's going to be pretty fast. And then at this time, it's going to be a left turn sweeper coming around into a tight section as well. So that's a good thing, I think. Like Nate said, it's not just 90-degree hairpins corners. There's good kind of carousel type corners in this layout, where we've seen that before when, like, say, Bonner Moulton and Howie Idelson, when they were designing, and I think Wesley Boswell as well too, when they were designing the racetracks, they tried to implement that in there, where there were kind of these bigger sweeping corners.
Yeah, what I find kind of interesting, Nate, you'll look at this as well, is where the finish line's positioned, right? I understand the start line being down farther. They want to slow it down coming into 1. But I don't know that it's going to be at 850 feet. What's that? Like maybe 250 out of the final corner, turn 16. It feels like if you block to the inside, will there be enough room for somebody to under you to the checkered flag? Or is it going to be dive bomb moves to the inside of turn 16? I think that'll be a place to watch for sure. I think at the end of Super Sunday events for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think with just the technical nature of the corners going back from turns 12 and on, there's going to be a lot of defending going on through there. So the final corner, turn 16, is going to be a, go for the win or go into the wall type situation for most of the finals, I can imagine, on Sunday. So yeah, with that finish line so close to turn 16, the final corner, and you not really being able to get a draft from anyone, if you're right there on them, it's going to be some hectic final laps.
Dave, are you okay with not having the big draft for the race win? I am.
Oh, I totally am. Yeah, I'm happy where they put it, because it's very similar to last year. I think that's one of the things they took from last year, where they backed up the finish line closer to the corner, the final corner. And so I think you're going to see a lot of over-unders happening through this, especially with it being a 180. So you're going to have your leader running defensive or holding it outside and then getting past and then coming back through. So you're still going to have a couple of drag races. I know last year we had some close finishes there at the end. So you're still going to have some close finishes. It's just going to be a matter of how close they'll be and what order they're going to be coming out of that corner.
it feels to me, and I really haven't had a chance to talk to Neil Strickland about it yet, but it feels to me like they almost took that corner from last year and said, we really like what that developed for the final lap over unders and, the kind of racing to the very end. So it feels like that's kind of a carbon copy. Let's drop the final corner from last year in here to make sure we have that again. Because I think that is, again, one of the things that made those finishes so good last year is when, as Nate said, if you go in the final couple of complexes there, you're done on the defense. You're going to bring everybody back into the fight. I just feel like it's going to be a really good battle in that last corner.
Yeah, and the only categories that had finishes of more than a second between first and second were Pro Shifter and Pro X30. So
yeah.
Every other category were close finishes.
So, folks, again, this is episode 80 of the EKN OutLap. This is our preview podcast, all part of our EKN Trackside coverage. Of course, we'll get back from the race. We'll have a couple of, I think we're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday for the debrief podcast. We're going to do two debriefs probably, right? Or just one?
Yeah, we'll do 2 debriefs as well after the event. We'll do part 1 and part 2. So probably the same categories as what we're doing here in the previews after the event. Again, depends on the time and place when we'll do it. We're going to try and not do it on the weekend, but we'll see what happens.
Well, and again, folks, I'll tell you this right now. Don't contact anybody from eKarting News on Thanksgiving Day or the Friday or whatever. You're out.
Well, this time Thanksgiving's a week later.
It's a week later, but you guys are. I'm gonna say we're gonna have extended time off for there. You guys are busting your ass here. So.
It's gonna be weird. I kept saying, "What are you talking about? Thanksgiving's not the next week." And they're like, "Yeah, no, it's not." I'm like, "Oh man, this is a strange layout of the calendar." Definitely,
there is no doubt. All right, David. Speaking of calendar, why don't you give us a layout of kind of the event schedule? We do this all the time with our outlaps. How are things shaking up here and laying out in terms of the schedule for the 5 days on track?
Well, I think one of the big things will be Tuesday. I didn't put this on the script, but Tuesday, a week from today, at about this time, everybody's going to be walking the racetrack, getting a feel for the actual circuit itself and seeing where the barriers, the bumps, and everything else are going to be. So that's going to be very crucial. Then we get into on-track action on Wednesday. We'll do the morning groups, 4 rounds of practice, 7 minutes each, and then the afternoon sessions will do the same. Get into Thursday, you get 2 rounds of practice, a 7-minute and a 12-minute. Before you head into qualifying. So again, 6 practice sessions in total and then get into qualifying. So we'll know who the fast guys are by the end of Thursday. Then we get into our heat races on Friday. We'll do 2 rounds of heats for both morning groups and afternoon groups. 1 round of heats on Saturday, followed by the last chance qualifiers that will be needed for the 4 different categories that did expand outside the 44 driver roster. And then of course, Super Sunday, main events.
Yeah, get at it for sure. And David had mentioned when they do have the track walk, we're going to go live, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram Live. Well, probably Facebook. We'll figure out how we're going to go live, but we will be on track. We'll go live. We'll get a bunch of insight from the drivers who are walking around, get some feedback on what they think of the racetrack as well. We'll give you a good look at the track for live for however long we want to go, an hour or so, whatever it may be throughout that time. Did you say, Dave, what did you say it was 4 or 5 o'clock Vegas time you think we're going to be going for the track walk?
4 o'clock is when they're going to start it, and they're going to run it till 6 o'clock. So that way it kind of starts in the daylight, and then if they want to go out while it's still bright or dark out when they turn on the lights, there'll be time for that as well. So we'll probably do it right from 4 o'clock to about 5 o'clock, and then maybe get some notes on kind of the sight lines for the night stuff.
Speaking of daylight, that will be the best time throughout the entire week because we're looking mid 60s, lows in the mid 40s. When that sun goes down, you remember the fact, David, that we're racing in the desert because it's one of those races where you come in during the day with your toque on and your winter jacket on, you peel it all off, and then you throw it back on before the end of the day. It's going to be so mid 60s is okay. I just never want to see rain. I don't care mid 60s. You can always layer up and be fine. It's tough, of course, for the guys in the morning. I can attest from my year there when the temps are so cold with the tires. But bottom line is that 60s and 40s is what we're looking at. It's going to be layering up for the weekend.
Do you mean like spinning out in the warm-up lap?
I like spinning out in the warm-up lap. Yeah. When you're trying to warm up because your coaches are pushing you hard to warm up. Yeah. Dude, you need to run the Supernats one time just so I can see you make some mistakes so I can keep the balance.
Everybody's seen. Ask Eddie Drives a Crack. We've all seen it.
We've all talked about Trackhouse. We've talked about Trackhouse. We've talked about Phoenix. You driving off by yourself at Phoenix too.
Nate, have you ever spun out in a warm-up lap?
I did. There was this season or the season before when we were doing practice session, I was warming up my tires and it was a bit cold, and I decided to lead the field out doing it too, and I just was reversing down into a chicane and saw everyone running past me. So it was a humbling moment for me never to do that again.
David was being super cocky in his e-karting new suit. And he was doing a test of an aero kart with a Yamaha, I believe, at Trackhouse, which was then GoPro. Right out of the.
Tim Pappas was helping me out. Yeah, it was quite fun, quite interesting, and there is GoPro footage, but I think it was burnt.
Probably. I will throw this out here, folks. We of course are live. It's interactive. If you have any questions, feel free to bring them in. Let's say hello to. This is the first one. What's the over/under on the number of times DC gets a burger? We're there for 7 days, so I'm going to say 7, maybe 8. Right, Dave? You okay with that?
I would put it at 6 because if I do go every day, that gives you the over. If I don't and I underperform like a lot of people do, that'll be the under.
Shout out to a good friend of mine as well, Elaine Sinclair. Thanks for the palate cleanser, boys. Of course, a lot of election talk going on right now. You can take your mind off it and come here for a bit. Brian McCaddy, here's one for you, David. Kits are on their way to the drivers. That's for the Rock Island Grand Prix scholarship, right? We'll talk more about that when we get into tomorrow's previews. So very excited to have DB Motorsports helping us out, helping Rock Island Grand Prix out, and Simpson Motorsports as well. So we'll get more into that a little bit later during tomorrow. Dave, let's talk about how big this race is. Let's first and foremost, that's what we're here for. Pre-entries coming in right now, 546. Where does that line up in terms of all time? I know plus 600 was the biggest. Was it 13? I think was 600.
602 in 2013. That was our biggest. And you got to remember though, there were 12 categories that year. So
2 Rotax classes.
There were actually 3. They had DD2 senior and junior, if I recall, no, DD2 masters. That's right. That's what it was. Yeah. We're at what did we say, 546 puts us at the 4th largest all time. So right now, again, 2013 the largest. 2022 when we went back to the Rio, that was a big one at 586. And then I'm looking to see where it is.
Go KA Masters in 2022. By
yeah. Third largest. Yes, third largest because we had 544 in 2018. So depending on walk-ups and cancellations, this could be the 3rd largest SuperNationals of all time.
Yeah, and the most ever in micro, right? At least 47, 48 in mini. But of course, the swap on that, we capped in 2022, didn't we?
Yeah, they started capping it 2022 because of we had 10 categories that year, so they had to cap it, and they've kept that because they've expanded Pro Shifter.
And mini never got up to the 88, right?
It got close. It got up. I can tell you the numbers real quick when I get over there. Mini was never really that. Oh, that's micro. Sorry. We got into the 60s, 78 back in 2016. We had the 80s back in 15, 14, and 13. So we were there. There was a drop off. Yeah. Because I think they were at 51 and 53 and 62, and they were like, all right, let's just cut it because they had to open up the time slots for other categories.
48 in Mini Swift here this coming week. Again, that's the pre-entries. 82 in KA 100 Junior, the most there, 4 more than last year, so 82. And then of course X30 Junior kind of been the same. Obviously we know it hasn't been massive on the national level. It's kind of been going down a little bit, but 46 still coming in here, David, to run at the biggest race of the year.
Yeah, again, all 4 categories sold out. Because I want to say they capped KA Junior at 80, but so essentially they're all 4 sold out.
There it is. All right, folks, there's our first segment. Don't go in here. When we get back, we'll start things off and go deep into the preview for MicroSwift. Established in 1999, PSL Karting has become a powerhouse within the karting industry for North America and around the world. PSL Karting is your complete source for all Burrell Art products as the North American importer, providing this top quality product through both their expansive dealer network or through the PSLkarting.com online store. Whatever you need is available 24/7 online, including safety gear, parts, components, and full karting packages. All three brands, Burrell Art, Ricardo Kart, and Charles Leclerc karts are in stock and ready to hit the track. Grab your winning chassis for any category by visiting pslkarting.com to find your nearest dealer. PSL Karting is always looking for interest in new dealers and teams to help create new business relationships. Drivers looking to take their talents to the next level can join the Burrell Art North America race team, competing at all the major US and Canadian events this season. When you're ready to win, go with PSL Karting. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the ceramic product line, Driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, Smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Quick little break there just to set things up for the podcast. But indeed, underway with this edition of the EKN OutLap. Myself, Rob Howden, David Cole, and Nate Dean with us here today. 4 categories we're going to be talking about: Micro, Mini, KA100 Junior, and X30 Junior. David, let's get things underway with the Micro category, brought to you by Bennett Kart. When we get to the end of what Dave's talking about, then we're going to rock in our predictions, start the chatter off a little bit. But let's just talk first about the 47 entries.
Yeah, 47 entries in the field. There's actually going to be 28 first-time SuperNationals competitors. Wow. So again, the micro category, the youngest category of the event, that's where you typically see that. You'll see a lot of young drivers making their first start there. There's actually 7 drivers at the age of 7 years old. So again, a young category. A lot of drivers their first year in this category. So it's the first big jump into the first big race. We don't have any former winners, and that's something that's kind of been the trend in the micro Swift category since 2016 is a driver wins and he graduates up to the minis category. So we haven't had a repeat winner in this category, as Maxwell Macha comes in as the defending winner or the winner in 2023, and he's moved up to the mini Swift category. So looking at that, again, so 7 different winners over the last 7 years. In this category, we have 12 different countries represented in the field with 14 drivers from outside the United States. So those are some kind of the notes on the micro Swift category. And again, this is a category we've seen drivers improve throughout the season. That's what you would expect with a lot of them that we've talked about in some of our opening outlaps of the year. We didn't know a lot of these names. So that was kind of the thing we've seen. We've seen a number of drivers kind of step up, going from mid-pack into being regular contenders on a regular basis throughout the season.
Some big dogs have obviously won here before. You'll go to Keelan Harvick back in 2021. Jackson Gibson won in 2022 and jumped the next year all the way up to KA. Didn't even go in to the mini Swift category. Ben Mayer, of course, a young driver we've seen do so well over the years. Vinnie Phillips, the British driver, winning in 17. Vinicius Tesaro, the Brazilian, back in 2016. David, SCUSA Pro Tour points coming in. I would say that the 5 drivers there in the Pro Tour points at the end of the season, definitely drivers we expect to be, in the lead group, at least top 10 when we get racing on Sunday.
Yeah, Zane Burgess comes in as the SCUSA Pro Tour champion, 285-point advantage after the 6 rounds of racing ahead of Win Godshock, who's coming off a victory at the Rock Vegas event this past weekend. Santiago Orleoli finishing in 3rd, Leo Simoni, the Canadian, in 4th, and then Daniel Ramirez in 5th. And all 5 of the top 5 in the Pro Tour points going to be in this field at the SuperNationals 27.
Anybody else got some names they want to throw out? Nate, do you have anybody you're looking at as well that maybe wasn't in the top 5 there in the SCUSA points?
I have a couple offhand. I don't know if I can get to them quick enough, but I mean, going back to what David said about the 0 former winners in the field, and we talk about a lot when we do the OutLap podcasts for the winner series of just how many new names we get to see throughout a season and how cool of a storyline it is that you go from learning from these drivers who you don't really know their story, watching them race throughout the year, and then into the mini Swift class or the other places. So it's definitely a fun story for the rest of the paddock going into this weekend with a lot of drivers we've been able to see grow and prosper throughout the year.
Well, you mentioned, David, 7 drivers, 7 years of age, but for goodness sakes, they just added 10 months to their life. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So there's so many. Again, we can dive in a little bit here to our predictions in a second, because obviously there's some drivers that we would look forward to. We can come back afterwards and talk about some of the other ones. So do we just dive into the predictions right now? I think that's the move.
That's the move. Let's go. Nate has the honor because he had the best score last year in the micro Swift category. He had 17 points last year. So
okay, who was second? Was I last in that one?
Yeah, you were second. I was last in this one. So yes. So Nate has the honor of going first. He had the correct first place, second place, third place, and fifth place driver. What? So massive 17. So he had 40. So he had 45 points total. 17 came in micro Swift.
Man, that's
good.
So
that sets the bar. So let's go right into it.
Yeah. So going off of the success he had at the final round of the USPKS race at Newcastle Motorsports Park in the wet, and then obviously doing very well at Rock Vegas, Win Godshock is my pick for number 1 overall in micro Swift. He just has the run of form at the moment and the momentum that seems like is so important in this micro Swift class to get the job done. And behind him, Zane Burgess, the driver who's been pretty dominant throughout throughout the micro Swift class and most series, have him in second. Third place, Santiago Orleoli, the driver who probably had the strongest winter season of any micro Swift driver in the nation, in third. Fourth, Cameron Johnson, a driver who could consistently get podiums throughout the tail end of 2024, but just couldn't really convert those into race wins. Have him at fourth, and the final driver on the podium, Danny O'Gara and MPG Motorsports, a bit of an underrated driver in my opinion in the micro Swift class. I think him and MPG Motorsports, along with his teammate Santiago Orleoli, should be able to work together fairly well and get themselves up there. I know Danny was doing a race with the MPG team and his friend Dominic Gaddis a couple weeks ago at kind of a temporary circuit inside of a oval that was really bumpy, had the barriers up, and he was setting down some impressive lap times there. So I'll have him at the final spot at the podium.
Yeah, the Indiana Speed Drum event. Yeah.
Yeah, SIRA event. Yes.
Yeah, listen, that was if I'd been an Indiana guy, I would have been there for sure. That's a great way to train yourself up for the SuperNats, get some barrier racing, as they say. So yeah, no, I think Nate's in a good place here, Dave. There's some really good guys there, and we're going to be similar to a certain extent, I think. I guess, am I up next?
Yeah, did we mention Danny also won Route 66 championship, right? So
he did.
Or did he not? No, sorry.
Yeah, he won. I think he won 206, didn't he?
Come on, Nate.
He won the micro Swift class and came runner-up in 206 Sportsman.
There you go.
It is. All right. All right, yeah, Rob, you're up next.
All right. Well, you'll see in a lot of the same names here. I lean towards Zane Burgess. It's just hard not to go for a guy that has been so strong throughout the year. The championships he knocked down, the race wins he knocked down. I always think the confidence is such a huge thing when in terms of coming into an event like the SuperNats. You want to ride in on a high, and I think Zane Burgess is going to be in a good spot. I'm going to pick him to win. I do think it's going to be a battle to the end, but it always seems that the drivers win races are the ones that know how to handle those late race battles, whether third, fourth, wherever they are, they find their way to the front. I agree with Nate that Win Godshock could be in there as well. Such an important, such an impressive season rather for Win in the Micro Swift category. I put him second. Santiago Orioli in the third spot. Both Nate and I have him in the top 5, as we said. I went with Cameron Johnson as well, P4, the Franklin Motorsports guy. I expect him to with his late season surge that Nate mentioned. I think he's going to find himself where he needs to be. And I'm also going to put in RPG's Daniel Ramirez there as well. He had some really good, strong runs throughout the season. So I wanted to be, again, we try to win, but we always want to be a bit different as well, right? We're always kind of picking that other move. I still think Ramirez, RPG's done well in this category before. We know they won it a couple of years ago. And I think that they can win it again, or at least get a podium here as well for Daniel Ramirez. That's my top 5. David, for Micro.
Yeah, I will. I have a very similar top 5 to a couple of you, but I do have a wild card in there. So I love throwing the international drivers in there every once in a while. You can't deny Zane Burgess has been very dominant on the season, winning a lot of championships on the year. So I put him at P1 to kind of go along with the Maxwell Macha of last year, winning the SCUSA Pro Tour Championship, and then going on to win the SuperNationals.
Indeed.
Jaden Francisco, the Canadian on Nitro Kart, has been very impressive in the second half of the season, along with Win Godshock. So I think these two are going to be probably the top contenders with Burgess up front. They're going to be giving him the challenge all event long, but I got Francisco coming all across the line in second, and then the Bennett driver of Godshock in third spot. Ivor Spence, the driver from New Zealand, finished 6th last year. You're coming back in the Micro Swift category. You already have all the experience. Why not hit the podium? So I put the Parolin driver in the 4th position. And then in 5th spot, we have a common theme with Cameron Johnson in the top 5. So it's the Merlin Nation flag is flying in the Micro Swift category with our predictions. Again, a great second half of the season where he's been been on the podium multiple times. So not getting race wins, but podium finishes, and great way to end off his Micro Swift career with a podium at the SuperNationals. So that is my top 5. And a quick theme on my top 5s, 5 different chassis brands as well too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow. All right. Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Ivor Spence. I went back, I looked at him as well. I finished 6th last year, right? But if you look back, he didn't qualify that well. He qualified, I think, outside the top 15. He raced forward in all 3 heat races, but I don't think he ever got into the top 10. So he obviously started outside the top 10 for the race, but what a good run for him to get up to P6. But hey, listen, he's run up front before. He was right there in the battle, David, and I think that's a really good pick for you because, again, coming in as another year in that Micro Swift class, already has the whole SuperNationals experience. Could be a differentiator for you.
Yeah, Johnson was 9th last year. Aiden Go, driver we haven't mentioned, he finished 8th. They were top 10 finishers. So 1, 2, 3 top 10 finishers last year. So Aiden Go could be a surprise that we didn't pick as well too.
Yeah, I just highlighted obviously on our spreadsheet. I highlighted Lawrence Perriman as well. Got a lot of experience. We'll see if he's able to work his way forward. You mentioned Aiden Go already. I also highlighted Byron Borman, and I know we talked about a couple of drivers from MPG. I would throw Cam Becker in there as well, David. He's had some good success here in 2024.
Yeah, and he's returning back from the Rotax Grand Finals where he represented Team USA. Had a great week there. Didn't quite get into the top 10 till the end, but ended up finishing top 10 in the world in Micromax. And
you think about having, as a young kid like that, having to go through the pressure of racing over in Italy for your country. You come to the SuperNats, you're not going to feel as, I think, maybe nervous as you did before because you already went through what was a pretty pressure cooker kind of a race over at the Grand Finals.
Yeah, without a doubt it is.
All right, folks, there's first one down. We've got 3 more coming at you here. Another quick break. When we get back, Mini Swift will be up next. In this day and age, if you need something for your karting program, it's just one mouse click away. One of the leading online stores in the sport of karting is tsracing.com. The Florida-based company has been serving the karting community for decades. TS Racing is one of the few kart shops with technical expertise in all divisions of karting. TS Racing's online superstore features a full range of the products you need to start karting today, or to restock your garage or trailer for the racing season. TS Racing is also the official distributor for Vega tires. For dirt, road racing, sprint, and the most popular 4-cycle tire with Cup Karts North America, a wide range of Vega compounds and sizes are available for your karting needs. Head over to tsracing.com today or call 352-793-9600 to learn more about the Vega tire brand or the many products that they have at TS Racing. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. We offer trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group is an official Kart Republic race team, providing full trackside support at all the major USA karting events, including the SCUSA Pro Tour, United States Pro Kart Series, the SCUSA SuperNationals, and other events throughout the season. TKG has Kart Republic, IAME, MG Novinco tires, and more products in stock for those in Ohio and the Midwest region. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. All right, back at it once again here for episode 80 of our EKN OutLap, the initial coverage for this EKN Trackside live coverage of the SCUSA SuperNationals 27. Of course, all the class-by-class previews that David's been writing are going up on the website. We've got the first 4 class ones we're talking about are already on the website and available, right, Dave?
They are, yeah. That's why we were trying to do later with our preview podcast, but unfortunately, the way our time schedule is, we had to do them today and tomorrow. So we wanted to try and get as many previews out as possible. Unfortunately, they didn't get, the entry goes till that Monday. We gotta go through it all and get everything set and going. So right now for tomorrow will be KA Masters up on the site for view.
So if you're watching right now, throw up your thoughts on Mini Swift. You know that when we get to the end of this one here, we're going to give our own predictions. Show us what you think in terms of Mini Swift. Who's the driver to watch in Mini Swift? 48 in total. Like we said, a full sold-out show there. David, let's have a look at the Pro Tour points. Let's have a look at past winners and give me your thoughts, your notes on the event here for Mini Swift, which is going to be brought to you by JNM Racing. Yeah,
let's start with some notes again. There is one former winner in the field. That is Royce Vega. Something that we have not seen is a repeat winner in this category. We've had 13 different winners when you go back to Tag Cadet.
That's
when it first started at the SuperNationals. So it's strange to see that. But when you have a big event like this and huge fields that we do have, you do have that percentage of trying to win again goes down extremely. 27 first-time SuperNational competitors in this field, so that's a big number as well, to 28 in micro. So a lot of first-timers in the micro Swift field. 8 drivers from outside the USA representing 5 different countries, and that's it for the notes. Like we said, Royce Vega, a defending winner, coming back to try and grab a first ever back-to-back victory in the Mini Swift category. I'll let you go through some of the former winners, but it goes all the way back to 2010.
Yeah, think about Michael McGoy in 2022, Enzo Vidmontian, another winner. We'll talk about him later on here in the show as a former winner. Kai Sorensen, big win at the Rio. Then you got a couple of guys here, 3 guys that are really kind of getting into their stock car days, right? Brent Cruz back in 2018, the superstar on the making right now, Connor Zilich, won back in 2017. Thomas Naveau, the Canadian, who now runs up here in the NASCAR Canada Series. But then, you go back to some other names, David, some pretty big guys early in the years when you talk about Logan Sargent in 2011 and Pato O'Ward back in 2010.
Yeah, crazy. That was at the Rio. Pato O'Ward, the first ever tag cadet winner in at SuperNationals history, and then Logan Sargent came back to win his first of two SuperNationals victories, winning a junior category a couple years later. So, a lot of history in this category. Speaking of history, a new champion in the SCUSA Pro Tour in 2024, with Ashton Woon picking up the championship this year ahead of Rocco Simoni, the Canadian. Ironically, Rocco won't be there in Vegas. He'll be racing over in Europe as he's kind of focused his attention on racing in Europe for the 20. Yeah, exactly. Boo. The 2025 season. What are you Canadians doing? Why aren't you at the SuperNationals? Come on,
dude. I haven't missed one.
I know you haven't. Yeah. Yeah.
Troy Ferguson.
Did his dad ever race at the Supernats? I'm pretty sure he did, right?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'd have to go back and look, but it would have been like 98 or 99 if he did. He might have already moved on to cars, but at that point. He went into F16.
We'll have to check and see. Troy Ferguson finishing third in the championship ahead of Royce Vega with Josh Bergman in the fifth spot.
There it is. All right, let's go into the Mini Swift predictions. And hey, if I'm first, that means I won last year.
It means you had the most. It means you had the most points in this category. Yes, that is correct. You had 5 points.
Nate had 17 in micro. I won with 5. We must have sucked last year.
You had 3 drivers in. We all had 3 drivers in the top 5, but you did pick out the 4th place driver, which was I believe Max Cristia.
I love the fact that you have all the stuff right in front of you. That's good.
Well, it's a lot of screens. I need to have like NASA style screens with like 8 of them going at one time. So
all right.
Yeah. That was it.
Let's
you get to go first.
Let's have let me fix over my spreadsheet here. All right, let's bring them up. All right. So you mentioned Ashton Woon already. Again, watching him throughout the season. Again, there's this focus with Ashton. I 100% think he's going to be in the middle of the fight. You mentioned Royce Vega trying to go back to back. Hey, that's a possibility as well, still too. But I just think Ashton's going to be the guy to run up front. I think he's going to get the win. Royce has been super strong. He'll be right in there. I do expect to see a pretty good group. Let's say call it 10, then 9. I think, David, you guys and Nate talking about the track, I think just some of the parts of the racetrack are going to separate the field in a significant way. I just feel like there's a lot of the complexes are going to separate some drivers, but I do think that the front group's going to pack back up again when guys start to go on the defensive. It all depends on how long the leaders are able to stay focused and not do that defensive line running. So I got Woon for the win. Royce Vegas. I think Woon may be going junior racing next year, so this would be his swan song. Vega in second. Parker Ives. I moved Parker up into third. I think again last year, where did Parker finish last year? Third. So he's been on the podium the last 2 years in micro at the Supernats. Plus he's been super strong here this year as well, right? He's had a really good season. So I put Parker Ives in third, Troy Ferguson in fourth, and Josh Bergman in fifth. We talked about, we went through the top 5 in the category. And I just feel like, we talk about the fact that Ferguson, Vega, Bergman, all in the top 5, as was Woon. I kind of lean towards that, knowing that those guys know how to run up front year in and year out. And then, of course, the experience they've had, like Parker Ives, as I've said, a couple of podiums already in that micro category. That's my lineup for the top 5. I see Ashton Woon standing on top of the podium on Super Sunday.
Yeah, there are 5 drivers who were in the top 10 in micro last year at the SuperNationals that'll be in this mini Swift field. So, Parker Ives being one of them. Let's head into mine. Very, very similar. Very similar. Ashton Woon, Royce Vega, Parker Ives, 1, 2, 3. So, Woon has the experience to be able to come away with his first SuperNationals win, beating out Vega at the line. I see an over-under. That's what I see happening here between these two. Ives is going to be right there. As you said, 2 straight podiums in micro. He's going to get a 3rd straight with his first mini Swift run. Josh Bergman, one of those drivers who was on the podium last year in micro, he finished runner-up. He's going to be back on the podium in mini Swift. He's done some international racing. He did the the FIA Motorsports Games over in Spain, was able to qualify P1. Unfortunately, got shuffled back. Still finished top 10 in the main event later in the event, but great way to represent the USA over there. But I have him finishing in 4th. He's gotten better as the second half has gone on. And then Marco Samet, the Brandon Jarzakrak Racing, Mike Doty Racing driver, into the top 5. He's got a lot of experience in the mini category. This is his second start in at the SuperNationals. He's kind of just been there. But there's just a little bit here and there that are kind of keeping him off the top of the podium or off the podium altogether. I think he's going to put it all together this time around. You know, he's got a lot of people to get information and how to win at the SuperNationals, with Paulie Massimino being a former winner under the tent and other successful drivers there. So I just feel he's kind of my wild card, because I figured the top 4 guys were going to be on all 3 of ours. So he was kind of my wild card. So that is my top 5.
All right. Is Nate going wild?
So Marco Samet, I have at the top of the list. He had a good run at Rock Vegas, was challenging for wins there, and it just seems like the BJR MDR guys had something for the rest of the teams when it came for the temporary street circuit layout in pretty much all classes, with them also getting the win in VLR Senior, I believe. But Marco's been one of those drivers was kind of thereabouts at the start of the season, but really turned up the wick in the past couple of races. So I think, in the Swift classes, there's a lot more shuffling of the order of where you think some drivers would be or wouldn't be. And I think Marco will be able to get on the top step come Sunday. Royce Vega, Ashton Woon, 2nd and 3rd, 2 extremely talented drivers in that top 3 for me. Josh Bergman, like we've been talking about, the TKG driver who has, built up his resume, especially in the past couple of months. And it's a really exciting driver to watch. Had a couple good runs the USPCAS this season, so thinking he'll be able to do that again this weekend. And then Valentino Santillan is kind of in the dark horse in Mini Swift for most of this year. Hasn't had a ton of big results, but is there when he needs to be there. So I have him finishing in 5th.
I like it.
That's a dark horse. Yeah. He came and finished 26th last year in his first SuperNationals in Mini Swift. So 12 years old. So certainly at the upper side of the age group. That's an interesting one. That definitely separates Nate's top 5 from us as well.
If you want to win, sometimes you got to roll the dice, right? I like that one. All right. So there you go. There's Mini Swift, guys, done and in the books. Another quick break. When we come back, KA100 Junior. Take advantage of the deals available through RTX USA Group, an official distributor for Rotax karting products in the United States. RTX USA Group provides Rotax engines, Mojo tires, and XPS products to dealers and competitors in the southern U.S. states, from their base in Florida all the way to California. Take advantage of their engine purchase offer, which gives you 2 sets of Mojo D5 tires when you purchase a Rotax Max Evo or the Rotax DD2 Max Evo. For those looking to add a Rotax Micro Max Evo MY20 or a Rotax Mini Max Evo MY-I20 to their lineup, those customers will be provided with 2 sets of Mojo D2 tires. Customers who purchase a Rotax Junior Max Evo won't be left out, also receiving 2 sets of Mojo D2 tires. RTX is also introducing the new Mojo Club, with opportunities to save on Mojo tires by bundling them together. Learn more about becoming a dealer or joining the Mojo Club by visiting rtxkarting.com today. Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarzakrak Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarzakrak is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time Superkarts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarzakrak is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing kart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsa Crack Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsacrack.com to learn more. So indeed, back here for Outlap number 80 as we preview the first 4 classes for this year's Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27. Rob, Nate, and David here on the show to kick off our at least live coverage, and we'll be doing more of that throughout the weekend, of course. David's going to get a chance to kind of go over a little bit of what we're going to be doing throughout the week, as we always do at the SuperNats. Time to go into KA100 Junior, sponsored by Burrell Art USA. 82 entries, David. It's going to be a full group of drivers. And I think the key thing is essentially everybody in the top 5 in Pro Tour points are going to be there, gloves off, ready to go for a SuperNats race win.
Yeah, a lot of drivers from the championship standings. I want to say there was 8. I have to look at what my preview says, but I think there's 8 of the top 10 that will be in this field. A couple drivers not racing at the SuperNationals, but it's a pretty stacked field. Again, when you're talking 82 drivers, we can go on and on forever talking about the different drivers who are going to be in contention on the week. Let's get into some notes real quick. One former winner in the category in the field, that would be Turner Brown, but you do have 3 former SuperNationals winners in the field, including Enzo Vidmontien and Jackson Gibson. Excuse me. That is in the field as well, too. I was just confirming that. Yeah, there he is. Okay. Sorry, lost my spot. 12 different countries represented in the field, with 19 of them from outside the United States. 17 drivers in the field did not transfer into Super Sunday last year. So that's an interesting stat. So there's a lot of drivers who are looking to come back and be like, I need to be in the main event on Super Sunday. So that's a big number too, because you typically have some of the drivers move up to senior, but this is with the KA junior category, we're getting a lot of young drivers coming up from the mini ranks into this category, looking to come back and for a second time and try and get into that field for Super Sunday. And again, record number 82 entries for this event. Hopefully we don't have any cancellations to keep it above that 82 mark and kind of match where we used to get for the X30 or tag junior category in the 80s. So exciting to see that. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different winners over the 5 years that we've had this category. 4 drivers from the USA and 1 from Australia, where this engine was originally manufactured for.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Interesting to look at the names, because they are obviously big-time stars that we've seen in junior racing. Turner Brown's, of course, one of the best junior drivers in the country right now. Stephen Miller, who's now moved to senior, was in the same role, I think, a couple of years ago. Jeremy Fletcher was as well. He was able to win 2 races, win both the X30 junior and KA. Am I correct, David? I think that year, right? Brent Cruz, we already mentioned him already. Cruz winning back in 2019, and James Wharton, who's working his way up the junior formula ranks over in Europe, won back in 2018, that debut year. But as I said before, Pro Tour points, top 5, all coming. Ardila is the Pro Tour champion, Turner Brown, Enzo Vidmontien, Ty Fisher, and Jackson Wolney, all going to be there this year, ready to go for the win. So it's going to be super exciting, I think.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of familiarity with a lot of these drivers. Again, like we said, only 19 drivers from outside the USA. So a core group. So over 60 of these drivers have been racing together, racing against one another all season long. So there's probably a lot of IOU one or a lot of receipts that could be cashed in Vegas.
Yeah. Before we jump into our predictions here, I know I kind of skipped by this, my fault for kind of quarterbacking it incorrectly, but in the mini Swift category, we didn't talk about some of the other names that I think could be in the hunt. Pasha Ali being one. I'll just kind of go down through. You guys can drop them in. Alex Chandler, the Texas driver for Iron Rock Motorsports, which we've been talking about him. Endo De Janeiro as well, I think.
I'll go through them. Yeah, perfect. Chandler was a Texas Sprint Racing Series champion, so he's one to watch. Enzo De Janeiro and Jackson Porter actually represented Team USA at the Rotax Grand Finals. Both pretty quick over there. Porter's actually a former micro podium finisher, so we'll see how he's able to compete. John McClellan.
So was Pasha Ali last year, fourth last year in micro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's among those rookies. Ali, Ives, Matcha. Those are some of the rookies to watch. You look at John McClellan, the California Pro Kart Challenge champion. He's a driver to watch. And then Braden Wagner, the Challenge of the Americas champion, racing for Formula Works and GFC.
Yeah, I didn't want to blast by that. I realized I jumped straight into the commercial. We'll come back and talk more about the K100 junior drivers after we do the predictions. But now it is prediction time once again. Did I win another class?
Oh my gosh.
Am I going first?
You have little battles. You win little battles. This one, actually, you and Nate tied with 5 points, and I had 4 points.
5 points?
Yeah.
Wow.
You had 3 drivers in the top 5, and you correctly selected 4th place. I had 2 drivers in the top 5, correctly selected 4th place, and then Nate had 2 drivers in the top 5, correctly selecting the 3rd place driver. So
there you go. All right, let's have a look. Who did I pick? I got to remind myself. All right, so this was going to be tough because I was kind of went back and forth on, but you're going to see very similar names in K100 Junior and X30 Junior from me, because I just think if you're up front in one, you're very likely going to be up front in the other. I'm picking Turner Brown to win this one. He swept, of course, last year, won both events. I see him getting his 3rd. And potentially even 4th. He could tie for the record of 4 if he comes back in X30 or X30 Junior rather. But I got Turner Brown winning here. It's going to be a dogfight up front. Let's be real. Diego Ardiles, Jackson Wolney, Enzo Vidmontan, and Sebastian Garzón are the drivers I have in the top 5. These guys have gone wheel to wheel all year long, racing in SCUSA, in USPKS, some of them running in the Stars program as well. It's just, again, this is going to come down. I watched some of the Rock Cup race, the Rock race from Vegas, and you saw the battles up front there as well. Ardiles and Brown, Sarah Bradley was in there. I think Jackson Wolney's had a great year as well. He'll be moving to senior next year. I see him stepping up and being right in the middle of the fight. There's going to be teammates, as we know, Ardiles and Wolney with Speed Concepts. You got Turner Brown. We'll see if he gets any help from anyone from RPG. I think this is going to be a tremendous battle in both of the junior categories. It's going to come down, David, again, to a battle up front. There's going to be a group over-undering potentially. Someone's going to do the defensive, bring everybody back into the fight. I feel like we're just scripting it again. But I'm going to say Turner Brown comes out in KA100 Junior as a 3-time race winner.
So you got RPG, Speed Concepts, Trinity Karting Group, and Orsalon Racing.
There's the lineup.
All right, Nate, you're up next. Let's go to you.
Yeah, so a lot of the same drivers have Turner Brown winning this, like you said, to get the 3rd one. He's been one of the drivers to watch in the K100 Junior class with how competitive this class is, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see any of these drivers in the top 5. I also wouldn't be surprised to see none of these drivers in the top 5. It's just the nature of K Junior and Las Vegas mixing is creates some chaotic racing, but definitely looking forward to it. Jackson Wolney, like Rob said, has had a good year in the junior ranks, moving up to senior next year. Struggling a little bit with the racecraft of junior, I think, with just the more elbows out style than what you see in senior, where it's a lot more of a chess game than checkers like it is in junior. But still, I think he has one of the most talented drivers in the field, so having him up in 2nd. Isaac Malcuit in 3rd. Crossed the line first at Rock Vegas, but got a penalty that knocked him down the field, so wasn't able to keep that win. But to Isaac, wherever he goes the past couple of years, whether it's in KA, OKN, or 206 racing, he's one of the best drivers at it, and he's always at the front of the field. So Wouldn't be surprised to see him up in third or in that top 5. Alexander Vantchev making the switch over to Rolson Performance Group last weekend at Rock Vegas and getting the win in VLR Junior. Have him at 4th. And then Enzo Vidmontien and Trinity Karting Group I have finishing in the 5th spot.
I like it. I think Malkett's a good pick too. It was tough for me to look at that as well. I figured him 6 to 10 because he's always so good. As long as he doesn't get pinched by some bad luck, like at the CKNA Grand Nationals, David, how many carts did he pass?
80 something.
80 something after qualifying. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So this guy knows how to pass people. That's one of the key things, and I think he'll be strong as well. I like that pick for Nate. I like Vantchev as well. And you always look at the Rock race, right? Rock Vegas. How good was somebody on a temp circuit a couple of weeks ahead of the race we're going to? So that I always kind of lean towards that as well. I didn't this time. Nate obviously thinks it's a good idea. I like that pick for 4th too.
Yeah, Malkett was a runner-up in Mini Swift in 2022. So that tells you he's been able to do it at the SuperNationals before to be on the podium.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm up. Boom, baby. Wild card.
Wild cards.
Yes. So, Nate, I don't know if you recall, there was a KA junior race at Cincinnati that was basically a defending race. Everybody was all together. There was about 20 to 30 carts in the lead pack because they were just defensive line after defensive line. Correct? You remember that?
It was something to watch. Yes.
I think the KA junior category is going to be insane. It's just going to be crazy. There's going to be so much action in this, not just Sunday, but all week long. And so I think that's why I kind of just threw the dice at this one. And I came up with experience, somebody who is going to be moving into the senior ranks and already has been already. And he's gonna play the game of chess rather than checkers on the week to be able to go and sit on the top of the podium, and that'll be Jackson Wolney with Speed Concepts Racing. So I do have him finishing in first. Sebastian Garzon, who actually was given the win last year until a pushback bumper penalty to Turner Brown gave back Brown the penalty after that penalty was removed. Garzon's coming in as a runner-up. He's going to finish runner-up again too, but he's going to be one of those catalysts that, he's either going to be there, kind of like what Nate was talking about. He's either going to be there or he's not going to be there. So that he's kind of like the real wild card I have in my top 5. Nico Serfati, another driver with experience, just ran senior at the Rock Vegas event, comes in as the challenge champion. I think he's going to surprise some people. Again, it's a temporary circuit. GFC knows how to run at temporary circuits. They know exactly what to do. So I put him at 3rd. John Antonino, driver that we haven't seen much. He ran stars on the year and some other stuff. But, Rob, you recall when we saw him as a micro driver at Streets of Lancaster? Yes. That kid was just insane there in a micro, and it's just taken a while for him. Yeah. It's taken a while for him to get acclimated to the full size karts because he's not exactly the big kid that say a Jackson Wolney is or a Nico Serfati is. So I think he's going to be a shocker, and he'll be there with MPG Academy and MPG Motorsports on the podium. And then 5th, I have David Ybarra, the driver for CRG Nordown. He's been fast in Challenge. He's been fast in Texas. He's been fast at other programs as well too. So this is kind of just a throw the dice at it. Again, 5 different chassis in my top 5 again. So,
David, I gotta say this: there's a lot of wild cards in there. You went rogue.
I really think there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens. I just have that feeling in KA Junior because the racing is so close in this category. I saw it in Cincinnati. We've seen it in other places as well too, where these guys they don't think out there sometimes. They just think it's kind of like bumper cars out there, and they just like, we'll get back up to the front. No, it's not going to happen. So I think something's going to happen in this category, and it's going to change up big time.
Yeah, you're like a cashew. You went rogue.
I went rogue.
I did. You did. And listen, again, I just popped up the spreadsheet here, which you have to scroll forever on because there's so many entries in this category. Yeah. Unbelievable. Antonino. What else we got going there? Trying to think of
Well,
some
let's look.
names. Yeah, let's look at Sarah. Hey, one that pops out, Sarah Bradley for me pops out big time. She's been super strong. She looked really good at the Rock Vegas race. I think, and again, you'll see Sarah in my picks for X30 Junior as well.
She's watching online right now too.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Sarah Bradley, 100% Sarah Bradley. So Max Christia, he worked for us in Mini last year. He's got a couple of top 10s in Mini. It's his debut in the junior class, but I think Max Christia will be in the fight as well. Your thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, he's among the rookies. You got Tristan Murphy for Supertune USA, Travis Pettit with Race Lab, Alessandro Truchot, another rookie. He's been racing in Mini all season long in Europe, so we'll see what he does with the full-size chassis. He finished 7th in the Mini category last year in Vegas.
Chase Gassio-Lee as well. Got to watch.
Yeah, Gassiet Lee was a top 10 finisher in the championship. Ty Fisher as well. Xander Malatesta for Ruthless Karting. Dean Peterson with Nash Motorsports. Alex Vanchev, we've already talked about him. He's moving over to Rawlison Performance Group after running with Sodi Racing USA all season. So, again, a lot of drivers a lot of these drivers have been racing one another all season long. So it's a unique field with a lot of different drivers who can be in contention.
Let's throw out Tyrone Kemper Jr. out of Louisiana.
Yeah, he's the Texas Sprint Racing Series champion, so comes in with that.
With Speed Concept Racing as well, which is strong. How about this? Back in the day, I've seen you pick him before. Couple of straight top 10s in Mini. Tristan Murphy out of Tennessee.
Yeah, I mentioned him for the one among the rookies. Yeah, so he's got a 12th in micro, a 10th in Mini, and a 10th in Mini coming in. So he's kind of one of those drivers that is getting accustomed to that full size kart. So I don't know if he's top 5 worthy yet. I think he's shown some speed here and there, so it could be a top 10 finisher on the event. But watch for him. Yeah,
for sure. And did you mention Travis Pettit yet?
Yep. I mentioned the rookies. Yep.
I missed the rookies. I was looking at my spreadsheet.
You were looking at Cashew.
Nate,
nobody knows that one.
We've gone through a lot of people. Is there anybody that we missed that you think we should be watching?
I mean, you guys covered most of them. KA Junior is one of those classes where you can print out the entry list, throw a dart at it, and they're probably going to finish inside the top 10. They got a chance at it. It's just,
you're not wrong.
Like David said, it's such a aggressive style of racing that these KA Juniors have evolved into in the past couple of years. And then add that to the Supernats and what will be a very tight and technical final sector for the track. It's, anything can happen with these KA Juniors. So a lot of these drivers will be in contention.
I think it's a really good point. I think we're going to be talking a lot about that final section that come on. I think it's going to be super critical, Dave.
Yeah, one more. Matthew Cagle making his KA Junior debut. He won the California Pro Kart Challenge Championship. So he's racing with Formula Works GFC. So he could be the Nico. You don't know.
Yeah, indeed. So shout out to Matthew Cagle for sure. There you go. 3 down, 1 to go. We come back after this break. X30 Junior to cap off the previews here. We got predictions still coming. But again, one more category still to come. It's a storied brand in karting, and it's got a new home in North America. Energy Course Americas is the official distributor for the Energy Course karting chassis and product line here in the US and Canada. The Energy Course brand was founded in 1997 out of passion and skill. Manufactured in Italy, Energy Course has gained national and international recognition with success in all different categories. Energy Course Americas offers an online store for the entire product line of the Energy Course brand, including complete racing packages, spare parts, race gear, clothing, and more, providing an excellent shopping experience. Race the brand that 9 of the 20 drivers currently in Formula One competed on during their karting careers. Visit energycourse.io to see the latest deals and to learn more about Energy Course Americas. Experience karting excellence with CompKart. The CompKart chassis brand celebrates its 10th season in 2024 and has launched a new website dedicated to the worldwide brand. Developed by J3 Competition here in the US, Comp Kart has flourished around the world with success at all levels of the sport, including titles in North America, South America, Europe, and Australia. The Comp Kart Covert 3.0 is the brand's design for single-speed competition for junior and senior drivers, while the Covert KZ is dedicated to the shifter divisions. The Comp Kart Ranger 28 model is designed for cadet racing and was the official chassis of the Mini-Max division at the 2019 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals in Sarno, Italy. Four-cycle racers can utilize the popular Comp Kart Covert 4R, while the Covert DD2 Rotax and Micro Kid Kart models are also available. Visit compkart.co for more on the fastest growing chassis line in the world. Remember to choose the flow. Welcome back to our first of two OutLap preview podcasts here on the EKN Radio Network, and of course on the YouTube channel as well. Rob, David, and Nate sitting in to give you our first preview, going through the first four categories. We'll have 5 tomorrow as well. We'll cap today off here with X30 Junior, sponsored by Speed Concepts, racing a full field of 46 drivers. Some big names have won over the last number of years, one on the precipice of making the way to Formula One, that being Jack Crawford. David, lots of notes in this one here. This particular category, of course, has been around a long time. You go, of course, from the X30 back into the Tag Junior days as well, because there's some big names the further back you go in Tag Junior.
Yeah, 15 years, 15 different winners. It's not the record for the event, but it's certainly close to it. It all began back in 2008 at the Rio, when we returned back to the Rio for the second time, with Felipe Fraga taking the win in that. I think that was probably a full field of 80-some drivers. I'll have to look at that.
I think you're right. Yeah, there were big fields back then.
You got 3 former winners who are in Formula One: George Russell in 2011, Lance Stroll in 2012, and Logan Sargent in 2014. And then 2 more winners who are on the cusp of getting into Formula One, being Jack Crawford, as you mentioned, in 2017, and James Wharton, who won in 2019. So it's a phenomenal previous winner wins list. Unreal to look at.
David,
yeah.
Let me just, don't look at your spreadsheet.
Oh, shit.
Can you name the chassis that Russell, Stroll, Sargent, Crawford, and Wharton were on?
Hold on. So Russell?
Yeah, let's start with Russell.
That was it. That was an Intrepid.
Correct. Stroll.
Stroll was Zanardi.
He's on it, folks. Logan Sargent.
That was it was OTK. I want to say Cosmic.
I think it was Tony Kart, but all right. Jack Crawford.
Yeah, I think it was Tony Kart. Yeah, because he was racing for Tony Kart there.
Jack Crawford.
I'm not looking because it's on something else. Crawford was on. Man, I want to say OTK as well too. Yeah,
I want to say Energy.
No,
you go look at your results. What about Wharton?
Wharton, that was OTK. No, that was it was Parolin. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Parolin.
FA kart. So the original Alonso kart for OTK.
For Crawford.
For Crawford, yeah.
For Crawford. There you go. All right. Sorry. Let's get back into it. I like testing you.
Actually, you look at OTK as one of the last 3 with Turner Brown, Ernesto Rivera, and Jeremy Fletcher. So Parolin broke up a long streak at OTKs because OTK went from 2014 to 2018. Ital Kart with Carvello, Zanardi, Intrepid, Tony Kart, Top Kart with Jake Dennis. That was that was kind of the one-off different brand there, and then Fraga on the Tony Kart. So interesting.
Yeah, and so again, looking of course at the Pro Tour points, Ernesto Rivera scoring the championship.
Oh, didn't update that. Sorry about that.
Get that updated, David. That's not Ernesto Rivera. Ernesto Rivera. No, hold on. Hey, I will say this. You can go through, pull your notes up to get this right. But Ernesto Rivera, again, you go back to the SuperNats and you think of some of the races that drivers won when it was the breakout race for them. Mm-hmm. And you remember that the year that Rivera won was the year that Caleb Gaffera was kind of the dominant driver in the
2022
category. Yeah. And then I think Ben and Axel just tipped the barrier or something. And Ernesto came through for RPG and won the championship, or won the SuperNats that year. And it really kind of set him again into what he did in 2023. And of course, now into F4 cars in 2024. That was a big breakout win for Rivera a couple of years ago.
Yeah. He's now Red Bull junior driver, correct?
Incredible, right? Isn't that amazing?
SCUSA Pro Tour points in 2024. Diego Ardila is taking the championship ahead of Speed Concepts Racing teammate Jackson Wolney. Turner Brown finishing in third ahead of Sarah Bradley. So 3 drivers for Speed Concepts in the top 5. And Chase Gassiet Lee in the 5th position.
So, yeah, there's your top 5 there. How about some notes, Dave? There's a lot of stuff going on in this particular category here as well.
Yeah, again, only 1 former winner in the field. That would be Turner Brown, the defending winner, but 3 former SuperNationals winners in the field as well. So again, you got Jackson Gibson, who won Micro back in 2022, Enzo Vidmontien, who won Mini in 2021 as the 3 former winners. 7 drivers, only 7 drivers from Mini Swift last year coming into the X30 category. Again, we're seeing more go to KA rather than we do see them go into X30. We have 16 drivers from outside the USA representing 13 different countries, and then 30 drivers in total running both KA Junior and X30 Junior in this event.
Dave, we talked about how many overall entries. Did you figure how many? Do we know how many overall drivers there are yet? Have you, with the double duties, have you figured that out yet?
I have not. No.
Paddock Insider.
Yeah, there's 30 here. I can tell you, you can do the math yourself. 30 here, 17 who are doing the 2 senior categories. There's also a couple drivers doing Master Shifter and Pro Shifter as well too, or something, or this and that. So I would say just minus 50 from the number. So you're looking at close to 500 drivers, not quite 500. But close to that.
495, 496, pretty impressive for sure there. All right, so you've gone through some notes in this one here. Let me scroll back down. Who's leading off here for the predictions?
That would be Nate. Nate is leading the predictions. Last year was able to score 8 points, so correctly selected the winner.
Hold on. Hey, Dave, have you led off at all yet in this show?
I have not, but I won overall. Hey, I won overall, man. I said I'll let you guys have these little battles, little win battles. But Nate did pick the winner, and 3 of the top 10. I picked the winner, and 2 of the top 10. And you only had 1 driver in the top 5. Sorry, top 5s.
Top 5s. Yeah, I only had 1. Yeah. All right.
Then Nate's good. So Nate's up first.
Nate's in.
So I'm going to be going with Diego Ardiles. Not very creative picks for having Ardiles and Turner Brown as the winners in the junior categories, but with the seasons they've had, you have to at least pick one or both of them to get it done. So I had Diego Ardiles taking the win for Speed Concepts, and then his SCR teammate Jackson Wolney in second. Davin Roberts for RPM has really come into his own in the latter half of 2024. So I think with his aggressive driving style, he'll be able to get his way up to the front of the field and be able to hold that. What, looks to be a very defensive heavy track. And I think that suits Davin's driving style. So behind him, Ty Fisher, the TV kart driver who, had a lot of opportunities to get some wins in 2024, but just throughout a lot of bad luck throughout the season, couldn't get it done. Have him on 4th on the podium. And then Sarah Bradley making it 3 Speed Concepts drivers on the podium for this one. This was one of the harder ones to pick over KA Junior because of just the amount of talent you have in this field and how much swapping we've had throughout the third and on back spots throughout the season, when it's usually been Diego and Turner at the front of the field. But a lot of talented drivers, hard to pick just top 5 in this one, having to leave out some big contenders.
I agree. I kind of broke down what I thought were my top 10, and then had to kind of throw a dart to figure out who I wanted to put top 5. David, you feel the same way, that there's guys I think you expect to be in the top 5, but there's others that were like, you're kind of on the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen kind of like Nate was talking about, we've seen kind of the same guys up front, but to fill up 4th and 5th, it could be a lot of different options, a lot of different combinations, and that's kind of what the fun part about doing predictions is trying to see, okay, who do I really think is going to be in those positions? Because for me, let's go over to mine. I think, it's pretty evident. We want to see the Turner Brown Diego Ardiles battle in this category without a doubt. I think that's going to be it. And then I think Enzo Vidmontien is going to be kind of the guy who can be the wild card, because again, he comes in with a lot of experience. He's already won at the SuperNationals. So him and Turner Brown have that experience. Diego Ardiles does not. So he's looking to get that victory. But I do have Brown taking the victory ahead of Ardiles, and Vidmontien kind of just trailing the top two there in the third spot. Nate already mentioned Davin Roberts. I was really impressed with his performance at the Rotax Grand Finals. Again, he had never left the United States before. Went over to Italy, where it is karting mecca. We're talking Sarno, one of the karting mecca facilities in the sport, and was able to run top 5, top 10 all week long, and just got shuffled back. So it shows a lot of maturity for the 12-year-old who looks like he's 16 because he's super tall. But it's a temporary circuit, so he's going to use that height. He's going to use that to his advantage. And just, I think he's been very impressive over the second half of the season. So I have him finishing in fourth. And then Ty Fisher, again, another driver who's kind of just been on the cusp of putting in some really impressive performances. I think he's going to put it all together in Vegas to help Race Lab celebrate a podium finish in X30 Juniors. So I have RPG, Speed Concepts Racing, Trinity Karting Group, Brian Perry Motorsports, and Race Lab. 5 teams, 5 chassis.
Is that your mandate? Is that what you're going to do?
I haven't done mine for tomorrow yet, so I did it for these 4. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Looks good. All right. I struggled to break away from the KA 100 Junior and X30 Junior. I think if you're going to be up front of one class, you're going to be up front in the other class. I just don't see that many people breaking through. If you're fast in one, I don't see you being outside the top 10 in the other. Chassis is essentially the same. Your team's the same. Drivers are the same. I went with Brown for KA. I'm going for Diego Ardiles for Junior. Could go either way, as we know. I still think Ardiles, Brown, and Wolney will be the drivers up front. I think Vidmontien, with his experience, not for the issue that he had last year, the unsportsmanlike deal that he had last year, he would have been right in the fight too. So I expect him to be out there, aiming for what didn't happen last year, right? Making amends for that. And again, he's only a year older. And I like Sarah Bradley, like Nate did, into the top 5. I think she's been so impressive this year. Looked very, very strong up front there at Rock Vegas as well, which bodes well for running at the SuperNationals. So I see her in there as well. Obviously, some Speed Concepts drivers in the middle of the fight. If they have the cart dialed in for Ardiles and Wolney, Sarah's going to be right there for sure. She's been showing it all year long. That's my top 5. I see the same kind of battle in both categories.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of different combinations we could do. Ardiles picking up his first victory is definitely possible. And then, we don't have any really big wild cards, so it's pretty relatable what we have in the top 5.
Yeah, we didn't go I didn't go with Sebastian Garzón on that one, only to put somebody else up into the fight. There's drivers who have shown well. We talked about Tristan Murphy. We haven't talked about Cameron Marsha, but he was, he's shown well. 3rd year running the event. Luca Popescu as well. Hasn't had a lot of luck, but he's shown good speed. Gage Corn, Dave, what do you know? Gage coming in here as well. Is it his first start? Has he never raced
first SuperNationals? He's been at the Rotax Grand Finals the last 4 years, so they put their focus on that. But so he's going to make his first SuperNational start next week.
You know who I think, to be honest, who could be, there's a couple drivers I think, but one that I think could really surprise, and I just wasn't sure how to roll with it, and that's Alessandro Truchot. He's only 11 years of age, did the micro a couple of years. I think he was 10th a couple of years ago. He's 7th last year in mini. He's been running overseas, so he doesn't have a lot of time to run with these drivers over here that much. He usually does the Winter Series. I think he could be a driver on the parallel that could be a big surprise. Like, he could literally be in the top 5, I think.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't, for me, is as you said, he doesn't have the experience of running against these guys. He also doesn't have the experience racing that full size chassis yet. So there's a lot of the smaller guys who have moved up that I just don't think they physically have the ability to be up front. I think they could put down fast laps. I wouldn't be surprised, say Truchot or somebody else is up there in qualifying, but you got to get through the 3 heat races and then be ready for Super Sunday.
And let's say this, if you finished in the top 10 last year, we got to talk about you this year. 9th last year for National Motorsports, Charlie Smith. Been in the top 10 before. Going to be easy for him to be back up in there again, another year on in his development. So Charlie Smith, we haven't talked about him yet, but I think, based on what we've seen out of him in the past, I think he'll be a top 10 driver as well, maybe even better.
Yeah, limited schedule for him. We didn't really see him too much at all the events, so just selected events here and there. So we'll see if he's able to get up to speed quickly.
Yeah, indeed. So that wraps things up, folks, for the predictions for X30 Junior. We looked a little deeper in the field. Guys, this first show is done. What do we want to wrap things up with? David, you want to talk a little bit about kind of the coverage go out lined up? Really kind of the regular stuff we do. We throw the track walk live in, like we said. Nate's going to be busting around, getting some videos and some reels done. We got lots of good things happening. Got a new guy joining the team for this race as well.
Yeah, Mattia is going to help join us doing some photos. We're going to try and have a quick little photo gallery each night or during the day. So he's going to help us with that. So just, again, we want to make sure that you feel like you're there or get a feel for what the event is like or what's happening at the event. Again, we're in a kind of different location, so we're going to have different viewpoints of the event. We're going to have a completely different track layout. So we'll also have the onboards. We'll do a morning onboard on Wednesday to give you that feel. It'll be on our YouTube and Facebook, and then the afternoon under the lights Wednesday evening as well. So we'll have that. Nate's going to be plugging in a lot of videos throughout the week. Again, our typical top 10s throughout the weekend, and then each day we'll have I'll have a daily recap report to read over during your coffee in the morning or at night with while you're at the bar waiting for a drink.
Exactly that. Of course, the top 10s will be on Facebook and Twitter. If you can't watch the race on Kart Chaser, of course, I'll be there for my 27th event as the commentator alongside Henry Beaudet and Mike Smith, the 3 of us dialing things in. Xander Clemens will be jumping in as well, the whole Kart Chaser crew, ready to have another fantastic broadcast of the SuperNationals. Of course, we'll be busting our tails all week long as well. And again, if you have any questions, just feel free to kind of drop us a DM. We'd be more than happy to help out. If you want some more content, let us know. Some interviews, David, probably lots going on. It'll be nonstop. Let's put it that way. We get there Wednesday or Monday afternoon, Monday night, Tuesday morning. We're rocking and rolling all the way through to the end of Super Sunday.
Yeah, In-N-Out Burger. It's been a while. Looking forward to that. We'll hit up some regular stops that we do hit in Vegas, and yeah, excited. SuperNationals 27. It's crazy to believe that just 20 years ago we were at Sam Boyd Stadium on Halloween watching Jason Bowles take a victory. So crazy.
20th year with David for ekartingnews.com. Will this be is this your 18th SuperNats?
This will be 20, right? 19th.
You missed
18th. That's right. 18th. Yeah, I missed. Yeah. Wait.
Let me
do my count again.
Nate, what's this for you? Number 2, 3? 5?
3rd with EKN, 5th total.
There you go. 5. That's right.
Yeah, this will be my 19th.
That was our big joke that Nate wasn't born yet when the SuperNats started. That's right. I forgot about that. That was the first year. That's good. And
yeah, it'll be my 19th. Yes.
Okay. Had to stay home.
I keep forgetting I wasn't at 2007. I always forget that.
When your son was born?
Yeah. Well, he was already born. I just didn't have the time to leave and go to the race.
Well, you're a good man. You got to be a good father and a good husband, right?
I don't have a best dad ever sign, so sorry.
All right, guys, we are done for this one. We're back again tomorrow at 8 o'clock to do it all over again. 5 categories for you. Of course, rolling through the senior classes, the 2 masters classes as well. Wrapping it all up with Pro Shifter, which is going to be unbelievable. The return of KZ and Pro Shifter racing this last year and a half has been amazing. Cannot wait for Super Sunday. Make sure to join us here again tomorrow. It's all interactive, as we said. Feel free to come on, ask any questions you may have. Again, 8 o'clock, back at it again. Outlap number 2 for this year's SuperNationals. On behalf of David Cole and Nate Dean, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.